Hi, this is Michael Carbajal, and you're watching True School Sports. Take care. Good night.
My flow, my show brought me the dough that bought me all my fancy things. My crib, my cars, my clothes, my jewels. Look, homie, I done came up and I ain't changing. You should love it way more than you hate it. Oh, you mad? I thought that you'd be happy I made it.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, before we proceed any further, big shout out goes to my channel sponsor, Fighting Mad, the pound for pound kings of boxing apparel. If you like the Earl Spence shirt you see to my right, you can find that exact shirt and many more just like it on the Fighting Mad website. I'll leave the link for you guys right here. So you go over there, you copy yourself a shirt, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a hoodie, and you will not be disappointed. Now that we got our bills paid, let's get into this Tony Harrison, Jermell Charlo rematch because they just had their press conference. And listen, Tony Harrison, man, he is on some straight bully vibes. He's mentally and verbally bullying Jermell Charlo. I mean, he's got Jermell Charlo as an emotional wreck. I mean, I haven't seen an emotional wreck like this since Kim Kardashian back in like 08 or 09 when she was on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, when she was like, "You're laughing at me, stop laughing." Roll the clip.
You're sitting there laughing. It's not funny. It's not funny. Get out if you're going to continue to laugh and make fun of me. I'm tired of it.
That's what Jermell Charlo looked like to me. Like, that's exactly what he looked like to me when I saw him having to deal with the verbal onslaught that Tony Harrison was just delivering this guy. I mean, I've never seen a fighter, because he was only up there for about 7 minutes talking at the podium. I've never seen a fighter pack so many quotables into such a short amount of time. So I want to kind of just go into what Tony Harrison had to say to Jermell Charlo, because it was classic stuff. It was classic stuff. Now, Tony opened up by calling Jermell Charlo a pretender, an actor. He called him basically called him a fraud. That like he's not what he's talking about. He's not tough. And this is an extension of what he said at their press conference back in June. They were supposed to fight before he pulled out, where he called Jermell Charlo a cornball. So you know, he starts off out the box, just come out the box like freaking Alex Rodriguez after he blasts a home run to left field, just coming out the box, swinging. You know, he then said, and then things got a bit heated. Things got a bit heated with Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo. And Tony Harrison looked this man in his eye. He looked him right into the eye like this. He was like, "Look, it don't matter where we fight. You know, as long as if we don't have no company check, we can fight wherever we want. We can fight in the bathroom. We can fight here right now. I'll fight you here right now." He told him right there to his face when Charlo sitting next to him that he would fight him right then and there. So just he's let him have it. And then like just so many quotables. Like this guy is like the ghetto Detroit Shakespeare of boxing. Like this guy's crazy. He then said, Tony Harrison, he said, it's all theatrics for this pussy. Like, just going on. Then he said, everything that he thinks he's about, I'm about all that. I want all the smoke. And I mean, say no more, Tony. Say no more. Listen. That's that. Once you say that, that's when you know it's real. He wants all the fucking smoke, straight up. So then he goes on. After he says that, he says, because Jermell Charlo really silently made its emotions over when Tony Harrison became unruly and was going on in the press conference. He then was kind of speaking a bit subtly and silently about how he has some gangsters in the crowd, and he motioned over to them. And this is what Tony said. He said, I quote, "Whatever you want to do, you can be with all of them. On Blood, on Pyru, you can be with all of them. It don't stop nothing." Like, he basically, man. For those of you who don't know, that's that gang talk. When you hear someone say "on Blood on Pyru," that's like when you hear that someone's a blood on Pyru, like that means that shit's gonna pop off. Like they're gonna do some shit to you. And then just these next two, while these were at the podium, he then said because Charlo was going on before Harrison spoke, he was going on about how much money he has and all this stuff. And Tony said, "All that money in the world don't make you a real motherfucker. You's a hoe. I know a bunch of millionaire hoe-ass motherfuckers, and you one of them." Like, this guy's trash talk is just, he's the pound for pound. He's in the top 3 pound for pound kings for trash talking. And then my favorite quote actually didn't come when he was on the podium. My favorite quote, and this might be the most disrespectful quote of all of them. Like, this is my favorite quote from Tony Harrison to Jermell Charlo. It came when he was in the media scrum, and they asked him why doesn't he like Jermell Charlo, and he said, and he made a basketball reference here. So for my basketball fans out there, he said, I quote, "He got a basic game. He Eric Snow and Andre Miller. You know, good enough to make it to the league and play on both sides of the floor, but nothing special. I'm Zach LaVine on these boys." So, yo, he called him Eric Snow and Andre Miller. Bro, Eric Snow used to just stand in the corner. When he was playing for the Sixers, he used to just go stand in the corner and let Allen Iverson do 600 crossovers and bust people's asses. But Tony Harrison, you know, the Detroit ghetto Shakespeare of boxing. Like, this guy is pulling no punches. He's got Jermell Charlo like an emotional wreck. Like Kim Kardashian. And you love to see it. You love to see it because let's have it right, man. Let's have it right. Tony Harrison in his career, like coming into that Charlo fight, if we could remember, if we could take ourselves back a bit, coming into that Charlo fight, I mean, this is a Tony Harrison that had lost some key fights in his career. It all started in 2015 in June on ESPN Friday Night Fights when he fought Willie Nelson in a fight that he was supposed to win. It was supposed to be a takeover fight. It was supposed to be a fight in which he got some rounds in, but progressed to the next level, and he got stopped and got handed the first loss very prematurely in his career. And a lot of people were doubting Tony Harrison. You know, if you fast forward 2 years later, he fights Swift Jarrett Hurd, you know, and against Jarrett Hurd, he was outboxing Jarrett Hurd, giving him all he could handle. But eventually, Jarrett Hurd, being the black Antonio Margarito that he is, he kept pressing forward. He broke him down, and he eventually stopped him. So he had shown in big fights to not, you know, quite rise to the occasion. But against Jermell Charlo, he rose to the occasion. He boxed, he moved, he showed stamina, he kept them off of him. He was the ring general. And you love to see a guy like that become world champion. You know, you love to see a redemption story in Tony Harrison. And it just goes to show you guys why you can't always go by records. Because coming into that fight, Jermell Charlo was undefeated. But, you know, I was saying for the longest time that Jermell Charlo was due to get beat. Because if you look at his entire WBC title run, he should have gotten beat. First of all, he fights John Jackson for the belt vacantly. The same John Jackson, you know, the chinny John Jackson. You know, he fights John Jackson. John Jackson is no different than his father, Julian Jackson. Obviously not as good, but a long guy with a big reach. You know, this is the same John Jackson that got outboxed by Willie Nelson and stopped by Andy Lee. You know, this John Jackson had actually refined his style just for that fight and was actually outboxing Jermell Charlo. But then he made the stupid decision of turning his back, and then Jermell Charlo capitalized on his one big mistake of the fight, and he got stopped. Then he fights Charles Atlee coming off a year and some change layoff, stops him like it was nothing. And then he fights Eric Snow, which this to me is probably his best win of his career because I used to rate Eric Snow back then. I don't really rate him as highly as I used to. Because I've learned about him as a person outside the ring, and I'm not really a fan of him. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's got talent, but this fight right here revealed a lot about Lubin's character, how he handled it before the fight and after the fight. And Lubin got stopped in a round. So that's probably the only one way I will give him credit for. And then the Austin Trout fight, he had a tough fight with Austin Trout. Austin Trout lost, and Charlo boxed him to a majority decision. So. And a lot, you know, there are some people that thought that Trout won that fight. Trout thought he won that fight. So take it how you want to take it. You know, Tony Harrison had taken some big losses, some big fights. Jermell Charlo, in my opinion, didn't fight as the competition that Tony Harrison fought. But you know, this is gonna be a good fight because Tony Harrison has a lot to prove this fight because of the fact that, as it stands right now, he's Detroit's only male world champion, and he wants to hold that strap and he wants to keep progressing forward. And you know, there's some big fights out there for him. If he does win, he can go out there and he can go box Julian Williams and try to unify titles, which I think would be an exceptional fight if he was to get through this one. You have the fact that with Tony Harrison, you know, it's not even just about the belt. It's not even just about winning. It's about proving a point. It's about proving that, listen, it wasn't a disputed decision. I am the better man. I am the better boxer. And you're a fraud. That's what he thinks about Jermell Charlo. And, you know, to be honest with you, you guys know if you've been watching my channel, I mean, I think Jermell Charlo, I think his older brother, or I don't know if he's older, but the one at middleweight, the bigger one, I think the bigger one's actually a decent fighter. Jermell, I've always thought was a hype job. So I'm with Tony Harrison. You know, he wants all the smoke. I'm right there behind him. All right, so Detroit stand up, Tony Harrison. You know, he got Jermell Charlo in his feelings, got Jermell Charlo exuding that feminine nature, you know, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Jermell Charlo has to stay composed. You know, he has to stay composed, and he has to be able to pick the right shots and hurt Tony Harrison. If he hurts Tony Harrison, and I think that he's liable to do that in the latter rounds because Tony Harrison does fade later on in fights. If he can pick the right shots and hurt Tony Harrison somewhere around the 7th to 8th round, 7th round and beyond, I think he's got a great chance to win this fight. But Tony Harrison in the first fight just proved to be a bit too smart, a bit too slick, and a bit too clever for Jermell Charlo. And I think this fight's going to go one of either two ways. Either Tony Harrison is going to jab his fucking head off and make his head bounce back like a bobblehead, like the one on your shelf over there, or Tony Harrison will be up on points. I think Tony Harrison will be up on points. He'll be outboxing Jermell Charlo, and he'll get caught with a shot somewhere around the 7th to 9th round, and he'll get stopped, and that's just what it'll be. So I'm looking forward to this fight. I'll be honest with you. This is a fight that I overlooked majorly, like with as far as the schedule for the rest of the year in boxing. It's a fight that I majorly overlooked. But it's a fight that I'm glad, these guys hyped it up because now it's on my radar. Now it's more on my radar, And these guys, this is gonna be a great fight. This is probably turning into one of the best, beefs, rivalries in boxing, because these two legitimately don't like each other. They don't have nothing good to say about each other, and listen, your boy BT, I'm all about promoting positivity at this point in my life. God bless everyone. Peace and blessings to everyone. But in the sport of boxing, in the hurt business, in that chamber of truth, you ain't got no friends. You ain't got no friends, and there's no reason to be friends with everybody when you're stepping into that ring and you got a man out there that's trying to render you unconscious, kill you, and take you away from your family and everything you ever worked hard for in your life. So I love when we get grudge matches like this, and I think it'll be a great event. If I had to make a prediction on this fight, on my unofficial prediction, I think it'll continue. In my opinion, I think Jermell Charlo has been exposed for relying on his power too much, and I see Tony Harrison actually winning a tough decision. I think Tony Harrison will win it close. I think he might even get knocked down. I think he'll get knocked down, but I think weather the storm, and he wins a close, like, majority, split decision type thing, like something like that. So, yeah, man, Tony Harrison got this boy Jermell Charlo an emotional wreck in his feelings. We ain't seen a fighter in their feelings. Forget fighters. We ain't seen anybody in the public. We ain't seen anybody in the public eye this emotional since Kim Kardashian back on the E channel when she was whining on the E channel about people laughing at her. So, it is what it is, man. But you guys let me know what you think about what Tony Harrison said to Jermell Charlo. And just this fight in general, who do you got? Like, do you have Jermell Charlo? Do you have Tony Harrison? I'd like to know what you guys got to say in the comments. And make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button as always. And like I say in every single one of these videos, we ain't in Miami. We ain't in Miami no more. But you can love, no, scratch that. We're not in Dania Beach no more. We're not in Dania no more. We're in Miami now. But either way, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.
Showtime, Sean Porter.
It's Aerosmith Dre.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse Vargas.
You're watching True School Sports. You're watching True School Sports. All right.
And you're watching True School Sports.
Stay tuned.